What if loving someone meant standing against your own blood? Toan defied his powerful, judgmental mother to protect Diem, the woman he truly loved, despite her past. They built a quiet life together, believing love would shield them. But shadows crept in. Surveillance. Lies. Forged accusations. Slowly, doubt poisoned their bond. When Diem walked away to spare Toan further pain, everything shattered. Will love survive when trust is torn apart? Backhand index pointing right. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to follow this emotional roller coaster. This story will take you deep into the choices we make for love. Let's begin. Toan stood motionless in front of the house he had called home for over 30 years. The early morning sunlight cast long shadows across the familiar garden path, but nothing about this day felt warm or comforting. With a single duffel bag slung over his shoulder and a quiet storm swirling in his chest, he turned his gaze toward the upstairs window, his mother's room. She had not come down to say goodbye. Perhaps she thought if she ignored his decision long enough, he'd change his mind. But not this time. The argument the night before still rang in his ears, every word etched like a scar. "She's beneath you, Toan," his mother had shouted, slamming her hand on the table. A poor, divorced woman with no background, no family name. Do you honestly believe she loves you? She's just using you. Toan had clenched his fists so tightly his knuckles turned white. He had tried to reason with her, tried to show her that Diem wasn't the gold digger his mother imagined. But nothing worked. His mother's pride and prejudice had already built a wall too thick to penetrate. In her eyes, love wasn't about kindness, loyalty, or sincerity. It was about status, lineage, and control. "I love her," he had said quietly. "And nothing you say will change that." Now, with his heart heavy and a quiet determination in every step, Toan walked away from the house where he had taken his first steps, celebrated birthdays, and nursed childhood dreams. But in leaving it behind, he wasn't running from his past, he was running toward his future, toward the woman who made him feel alive, understood, and free. Diem was waiting in front of the modest apartment building they had chosen together. Her eyes lit up when she saw him, but there was a flicker of worry behind her smile. "You sure about this?" she asked softly, reaching out to touch his arm. Her touch was gentle, uncertain, as if afraid one more push from the world would make him disappear. Toan placed his bag down, cupped her face in both hands, and smiled, tired, but full of conviction. "Yes. I'm sure. I don't want to spend another day in a house where love is judged by money and past mistakes. This is real, Diem. What we have is real." Tears welled in her eyes, but she nodded, leaning into his hands. For the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to believe that maybe love could be stronger than pride, deeper than bloodlines. Their new home was nothing fancy, a small two-bedroom apartment with creaky floors and slightly peeling paint. but to Toan, it felt like a palace. He helped Diem hang curtains, unpack books, and set up a tiny dining table in the corner. In the evening, they cooked their first meal together, fried rice with eggs and vegetables, shared under the warm glow of a single kitchen light. As the night fell, they sat on the balcony, legs tangled, sipping tea and laughing over stories of their childhoods. The city buzzed below them, but here, in this little cocoon, everything was still. Toan kissed her forehead and whispered, "We'll be okay." In that moment, Diem believed him. What they had might not be rich in gold or status, but it was rich in everything that mattered: hope, courage, and love. What they didn't know was that while they were building a new beginning together, someone else was already planning its end. The first weeks in the tiny apartment unfolded like a fragile dream. Dawn found Diem humming as she watered the pots of basil and chrysanthemums lining the balcony, her bare feet leaving faint prints on the cool tiles. Toan rose early just to watch her silhouette against the bruised pink sky, thinking that if happiness had a sound, it would be the soft clink of her watering can. Even the mundane felt enchanted: mismatched mugs, improvised recipes, the squeak their second-hand sofa made whenever they laughed too hard. Yet, beneath that domestic hush, something unseen began to stir. It announced itself in trivialities: an unfamiliar sedan idling across the street longer than traffic allowed. A man in a baseball cap who always seemed to be rearranging the same stack of newspapers outside the corner shop. Diem noticed first. "Maybe they're new to the neighborhood," she suggested, more hopeful than convinced, but the quick glance she cast over her shoulder betrayed a prickle of unease. One Thursday afternoon, Toan returned from work to find Diem trembling on the sofa, a crumpled envelope in her lap. Inside lay glossy photographs, each more invasive than the last. Diem buying vegetables at the market, Diem chatting with a male co-worker outside her office building, Diem unlocking the apartment door while glancing up and down the corridor. On the back of every print was the same red ink question: "Do you still trust her?" Rage flared in Toan's chest, hot and immediate. He paced the living room like a caged animal, fists clenching and unclenching, before forcing himself to kneel in front of Diem. "Look at me," he whispered. She did, eyes shining with fearful tears. "These are lies. Someone is trying to poison what we have. I won't let them." He tore the photos to shreds, but the damage lingered in the trembling set of Diem's shoulders. That night, sleep refused them. Around 2 a.m., Diem slipped out of bed, unable to bear the dark mutterings of her own thoughts. She padded into the kitchen, intending to brew chamomile, and froze. The window, locked before they slept, was ajar. A cool draft teased the curtains. Her heartbeat skittered. Had the latch been faulty, or had someone been inside? She backed away, bumping a chair, and the small crash jolted Toan awake. Within seconds he was at her side, scanning the room, every sense sharpened to a blade. They found nothing missing, no sign of forced entry, nothing but the lingering scent of cigarette smoke that neither of them used. Morning brought no relief. At work, Toan's phone lit up with anonymous messages, grainy shots of Diem leaving the apartment, timestamps highlighted in accusatory yellow. "She's lying to you," a text insisted. "She still meets other men." Toan deleted each one, but their digital afterimage burned behind his eyelids. Meanwhile, Diem's office inbox flooded with rumors, memoirs of a past she had never lived, whispers that she seduced supervisors for promotions, that her ex-husband had paid her to disappear. Her cheeks burned as colleagues exchanged sidelong glances that sliced sharper than words. By the end of the week, the couple's laughter had faded into wary silence. Every knock at the door tightened an invisible noose, every ring of the phone felt like a detonator. Yet in quiet moments they clung to each other, vowing to withstand the unseen siege. One evening, as rain sheeted against the balcony glass, Toan pressed his forehead to Diem's. "I chose this storm," he murmured. "And I choose you, every day." His voice cracked, but his resolve held. Diem laid a trembling hand over his heart, drawing strength from its steady thrum. Neither of them knew the mastermind was far closer than any stranger. In an elegant villa across town, Toan's mother reviewed a new batch of surveillance photos, lips pursed in triumph. Soon, she whispered to the dimly lit study, "He'll see her true nature, and this foolish affair will end." Outside, thunder rolled across the city, as if the sky itself were warning that some storms, once summoned, cannot be controlled. The silence between Toan and Diem had become heavier than words. Though they still shared a bed, the space between them at night had grown colder. They held hands at dinner, but their fingers barely curled around each other. Love, once vibrant like spring sunlight, now felt like fragile porcelain, beautiful, but one long breath away from breaking. Each day, Toan buried himself in work, trying to outrun the whispers clawing at his sanity. But no matter how fast he ran, the shadows followed. Anonymous emails landed in his inbox like poison arrows, some with fake receipts showing Diem dining with other men, others with forged messages painting her as manipulative and deceitful. One included a fake medical report suggesting she had once been pregnant, and had terminated it. Toan slammed his laptop shut that day and drove straight home. His heart battled between fury and fear, but he forced himself to believe it was another trick, another sick attempt to ruin them. Yet, when he opened the apartment door, Diem was already sitting on the floor in the hallway, her suitcase beside her. Her eyes were swollen, red-rimmed. In her hands was a printed copy of one of the emails, her fingers trembling over the forged medical report. She didn't speak at first. Just looked at him as if trying to memorize his face before it disappeared forever. "I don't know how to fight this anymore," she whispered. Toan knelt in front of her, his voice hoarse. "You don't have to fight it alone." "But I am," Diem said, tears falling freely now. "Every day I go to work, someone looks at me like I'm a liar. My name is no longer mine." My past is being rewritten by someone I've never even met. And no matter how much we love each other, Toan, your mother, she won't stop. She wants me gone. Toan reached for her hands, but she pulled them back gently. I see the doubt in your eyes sometimes. I hear it in the way you pause before asking me where I've been. I feel it when you hesitate before hugging me at night. It's not your fault, but it's there. He wanted to deny it. Wanted to scream that he trusted her with everything in him. But trust wasn't just declared, it had to be felt. And the truth, however cruel, was that some seeds of doubt had been planted, and they had begun to sprout. Diem stood slowly, brushing back her hair with a quiet dignity that shattered his heart. I'm not leaving because I stopped loving you, she said. I'm leaving because I love you too much to be the reason you're torn apart. She left the key on the counter. Toan didn't chase her, not because he didn't want to, but because his legs refused to move, as if frozen by the weight of everything unspoken. He sat on the couch, the ticking of the wall clock louder than ever, echoing the emptiness spreading across the apartment. Hours later, still in the same spot, he reached for his phone and called the only person who had never approved of Diem. When his mother answered, her voice was smug. I told you she wasn't right for you. Toan's voice was cold, steely. I know what you did. The photos. The rumors. The lies. Silence. I lost her because I hesitated. Because you made me question what I already knew. But not anymore. He stood up, staring at the now empty balcony where Diem's flowers still bloomed. I'm going to find her. And when I do, I'm choosing her even if that means losing you. And with that, Toan hung up, grabbed his jacket, and walked out the door, not to escape, but to make things right. Outside, the storm clouds were clearing. Somewhere in the distance, a new sunrise waited.
Hello, xin chào tất cả